Over 2.5 billion people in the world live on less than $2 a day, one of the international benchmarks for assessing poverty. Now, bleeding disorders affect approximately 1 in 1,000 births. That means that there are literally millions of people with bleeding disorders living in poverty around the world.
The problem of hemophilia in Africa is a great problem. We have many undiagnosed patients, and when the patients are diagnosed, they have no access to treatment.
That's Dr. Salio Diop. He's the director of the only hemophilia treatment center in Senegal. And the problems that he's identifying, the inability to properly diagnose and the lack of access to treatment products if diagnosed, are not only problems in Senegal, but problems in developing nations and regions around the globe. In other words, because of the lack of access to treatment products and support services, the majority of these millions of people with bleeding disorders go undiagnosed, live with frequent bleeds or other complications, and die young. That's the reality in areas that cannot provide sustainable therapies or care.
I had a son with hemophilia in 1996, and the journey was not what any mother wanted to have. I got to a point in my son's life, I held a son I carried in my womb for 9 months and prayed for my son to die because there was no treatment, and he was bleeding for 21 days.
When Megan learned that what her son had was hemophilia, she reached out to people at dozens and dozens of bleeding disorders organizations around the world, looking for help, looking for answers. She heard back from someone, Dr. Asad Hafar from the World Federation of Hemophilia and the director of WFH's Humanitarian Aid Program.
I could say that we have about 65 countries who are, we consider them developing countries, that we work with them for our humanitarian aid program, that we donate to them factor concentrate or clotting factor concentrate to use for their patients, particularly those who have no access to treatment products.
The Humanitarian Aid Program of WFH was initiated in 1996, and between 1996 and 2015 we were able to send roughly 270 million of IUs to countries and to people in need all over the world.
I've always said the humanitarian aid for me in my country is the difference between life and death. Because without it, I'm not sure so many of our boys will be alive today.
The support of World Federation Hemophilia is essential for access to treatment with humanitarian aid, because we need to have some products to treat emergencies, to treat some cases on surgery, and to avoid high mortality rate of hemophilia in their younger age.
Half the people with hemophilia in the developing world have died by the time they're 10. That's a staggering statistic, considering that the lifespan of those of us with hemophilia in the developed world is close to normal.
WFH's Humanitarian Aid Program has received an incredible commitment for 500 million international units of factor over the next 5 years. Now, by comparison, that is nearly double what the program was able to donate over the past 20 years. This expansion and the number of people with bleeding disorders who will benefit from it is tremendous.
This expansion of the Humanitarian Aid Program is one big step that is going to help in improving the standard of living for persons with hemophilia. But having the sustainable and predictable donations coming in, it's not just going to give our patients life, but it's going to give them good quality of life.
With the current donation that we're anticipating, take it from me, it has given life to everybody, even including myself as a clinician. It has given me life, it has given the patient's life, it has given our government life, because now everyone is talking about the hemophilia program.
The vision of the WFS is to have treatment for all. And treatment for all means accurate diagnosis for every person with bleeding disorders, sufficient treatment for everybody who has hemophilia, and at the same time extend this for other bleeding disorders. This is our vision.
While this historic expansion allows WFH's Humanitarian Aid Program to come closer to that vision of treatment for all, it also comes with additional costs and considerations. So, as members of the bleeding disorders community in the developed world, what can we do to help?
As patients, we can advocate to the manufacturers that we want to see substantial donation programs for the benefit of the developing world. And then as individuals, we can contribute funding to provide for additional workshops and training sessions for the management of hemophilia.
For the last 20 years, no initiative has served more people with bleeding disorders in the developing world than WFH's Humanitarian Aid Program. So for its 20th anniversary, as the Humanitarian Aid Program is expanding rapidly, help make the vision of treatment for all a reality by visiting treatmentforall.org, where you can make a donation and learn about the other ways you can help those with bleeding disorders who are most in need. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video from the WFH Humanitarian Aid Program series. If you'd like to watch more videos from the series, you can click here, or you can click here.